Why would you need to erase General Mark Milley if you're Donald Trump?
Because I'm petty, because I'm all about fealty and loyalty to myself and doesn't understand loyalty to the Constitution. That's why. I mean, welcome to Germany, 1933. I mean, you know, he's trying to intimidate members of the military, like Mark Milley, to be subservient to him and, you know, and not stand up and not fight and defend the Constitution of the United States versus fight and defend him. That's what he wants. This is a shameless political act of retribution. I mean, so much for Pete Hegseth's assurances to get politics out of the military and focus on a warrior culture. I mean, the first thing he did was a political act of retribution on behalf of Donald Trump, going after one of the greatest warriors that this country has ever produced. I mean, Mark Milley was an incredible soldier, scholar, statesman who served in the great tradition of George C. Marshall. And it's just so sad to see the Marshall Corridor now is devoid of his painting. I mean, but he was an American patriot who sacrificed so much. A Princeton grad, he could have gone on to make all kinds of big bucks on the outside, but no, he served. He picked a life of selfless service to our nation. He served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia, Panama, Korea. I mean, get on and on. 4 Bronze Stars, for crying out loud. Commanded the 10th Mountain Division, one of our most storied divisions in the United States. He sacrificed so much for 44 years, and to see him treated like this, I mean, it's just reprehensible. I mean, we're not talking about national security here. We're not talking about the war in Iraq, or excuse me, in Ukraine or Gaza. We're not talking about building relationships with key allies or protecting Americans from, you know, terrorists. No, we're talking about an act of retribution on behalf of Donald Trump, and it's just shameful.
It is an act Paul Rieckhoff carried out in the name of the American people. Pete Hegseth's salary is paid by the taxpayer. He was confirmed by the United States Senate, the first Secretary of Defense ever to be opposed by bipartisan senators. I think that is the history that he made. He had opposition from the Democratic Party in total and 3 Republicans. And one of his first acts is to carry out a retribution campaign against a fellow soldier. It shouldn't boggle my mind. I'm embarrassed that I can still be horrified by anything that Trump does, but I'm horrified.
This is what we predicted and warned could happen. It's disgusting, it's dishonorable, it's damaging, and it's deeply dangerous. Just on a very basic national security basis, if you send a message to the world that we will not protect the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, our enemies are celebrating. He has protection because the Iranians want to kill him, right? That's part of it. But then there's also the threat from extremist groups. There's any number of threats from a lone wolf. The president himself knows that because he was shot this past summer. So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs should have security. All chairmen of the Joint Chiefs should have it, just like cabinet secretaries need it, because if they don't, they are a trophy for our enemies, and they have security value that is immeasurable. But it's also more than just erasing history. They're trying to erase opposition. What they're saying in the first couple of days is if you oppose us, we will come for you, we will make an example of you, and we can even get the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And if we can get him, what message does that send to cascade across the entire military? They are setting a tone, and the tone is of loyalty and fealty and obligation, and to put that above anything else. And if you cross us, this is what happens.
Retribution, stupid, said no swing voter ever. But that's where Team Trump is focused today, against an undisputed American military hero. Donald Trump's newly minted Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, in short order, is exacting Donald Trump's revenge on retired 4-star general, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. Quote, removing his security detail, revoking his security clearance, and ordering an inspector general inquiry into his record. Viewers of this program remember all too well that General Milley was a frequent target of Donald Trump's rage and deranged rants that included, quote, suggesting that General Milley had committed treason and should be put to death, end quote. In part because of public threats like that, threats that sound